Welcome to SiGMA TV. Thrilled to be joining you today, along with Ran Cohen, co-founder and CEO of BridgerPay. Ran, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you? How was New Year's?
I'm fantastic. I'm great to be talking to you. I've been waiting and looking forward to this for a really long time. But I just want to start off by asking, you look like you are somewhere that is sunny. Where am I talking to you from?
Well, we are in sunny Cyprus, which enjoying sunny days this New Year's and Christmas. Yeah, winter has not come.
Fantastic.
Winter is not coming yet.
What's the winter like in Cyprus? We're obviously talking to you from Malta, which is not that far away. We're getting a little bit cold at night right now. How is it over there?
It gets a bit cold, but you know, us islands, it's very sunny. Winter is coming very periodically, comes in, goes fast, and sun comes back again. This is the nature, but we get some snow in the mountains for I think 2 months maybe. So yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah. 30 minutes, you're up in the mountain in the snow, and you're back down in the beach.
Ryan, I'm coming for a visit. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure, we are more than welcome.
Brilliant. We certainly don't have snow in Malta. But listen, we're here talking about BridgerPay, and I'm really excited because when I was looking into you guys, it couldn't be more simple. BridgerPay is literally what it says it is. Bridge between merchants and payment providers to save the merchants the technology resources required to manage multiple payment providers, save failed transactions and cart abandonment by using proprietary AI-based retry engine, and improve overall operation and customer service for online merchants. Now that's a mouthful, but it really is what you say. It is BridgerPay. You bridge the gap between payment providers and the gateway.
Yeah, that's exactly. I could have said it better. Bridger is first of all, we saw in many vertical and sectors around the world the same issue and the same problem in payments. It's conceived as something very technical, something that requires a master degree, and in the end, this is the source and the blood source of any company, any business that works and trying to get more revenues inside. Processing is a very important issue that you must cover, and we see today that businesses are almost becoming a technology company in order to obtain and connect those payment options to serve their end clients. Different clients from around the world wants to pay with their preferred payment methods. Each country with its own set of preferred payment methods. In UK, you have a lot of buy now, pay later providers, and the same in the US and different in Australia. So in the end, when you want to serve end users, you need to give them the best way that they feel confident in paying. But that requires you to become a technology company. It requires you to suddenly harmonize all this data, go to multiple backends, and like to become an actual technology company, which you are not. And this is where Bridger comes in. We simplify the process, one API to us, and we basically cover the globe. We are integrated to over 400 payment providers now and methods. So any merchant that wants to open a new country can immediately open different payment methods that serves this country. He doesn't need to wait a long time or go through a long process in order to start processing. One more thing that we saw is that payments are getting failed. A lot of payments are getting failed. They're getting failed on one payment providers, but they can be approved on another. Payment providers are working on their own fraud rules, their own fraud mechanism. They can decide they want your transaction, but they can decide that this guy, they don't want his transaction because of his city, because of his type of credit card, because of different things the triggers in their system that this transaction is not good for us. But another payment provider has a different set of rules. So transaction can go from one payment provider to another seamlessly. And we see today in gaming providers that around 20% of the declines are getting approved on the second payment provider.
Well, I want to ask you about that because you mentioned something just a second ago about different, it had not occurred to me, different countries have different preferred methods of payment. So if you are a business who operates across different countries, I mean, these complications are incredible. And now that you explain that to me, and for the first time, I'm sort of seeing how crazy this one method of payment might be different to something else. And of course, you start off by saying, of course, this is the bloodline for a company. They have to be paid. That's where the money comes from. That's what makes the company work. So let me just ask you, before we go into, you mentioned a number of failed payments and so on. Before we go into that in just a second, what makes you different to your competitors? Or is there just nobody that does what you do as well as you do?
Well, I think in the payment world, it's very, let's call it sexy to become a payment provider. And there's a lot of payment providers out there, a lot of payment providers. Everyone is saying that I'm providing the most amazing service with the highest approval ratio, et cetera, et cetera. We want it to be a neutral infrastructure that doesn't decide for the business who to work with or who should they process with. The business, first of all, knows better than anyone. Every business is very educated today, and they know exactly what they want to process, how they want to process, with what terms they want to have. So they're very educated. They don't like people to bound them with work with this or work with that. And we're giving them the freedom to decide who they want to connect inside their, let's call it supergate. That in this supergate, they can decide, okay, I want to work in this country with this payment provider, and in that country with that payment provider. I don't know if you know, but gaming merchants has around 15 to 25 different payment providers together working in the same time. They have another 10 on the pipeline that they switch on and off, but I'm talking about big amounts of payment providers. So you have 25 different payment providers, 25 different back offices to go and see how much you processed, instead of just going into your Bridger and see it all in one place. So, and also think about the user experience. You have 25 different technology that looks different. How is the experience unified?
Well, as you said, it's the process does require, unless somebody is using someone like yourself, does require a vast amount of understanding of technology. I just say I love the fact you said that it's very sexy to be a payment provider. I feel like that's something I should do in my life. But I want to just come back. I want to come back to a quote from yourself. Coming back again, you talked about declined payments. And in the context of what we're talking about, your quote is 1 out of 10 transactions. This was news to me. 1 out of 10 transactions are declined, and 70% of them can be retried. And according to your statistics, you can save 30% of those transactions. So, we're talking about the challenges that a company might face. Why is a payment declined?
Many reasons. We are not talking about the reasons that our AI engine knows how to read, which means you don't have money in your card. You don't have money in your card, I will never come again to the same card and try it again. There's many different types of reasons that you don't have money in your card. We know how to read them all between all the different payment providers that we are connected with, and we know when to retry. But when we retry is when we see that there was a decline that was caused by technical reasons. Now, especially today in the PSD2 world, in a world where the transaction experience is changing with the 3DS2 scenarios and challenges that I don't know if you know, but it just went in a month ago. But now to make a transaction, the challenge is bigger than just, okay, you get a code, you put the code inside the screen and the transaction is successful. Now there's going to be a second layer of security, like a second layer that you would need to approve if it's by a fingerprint, if it's by an email verification. You are going to see it soon in transactions that you're going to run through different places that you're going to do. But this is what Visa and MasterCard network called 3DS2. 3DS2 is a higher challenge or a bigger challenge in order to retrieve the security that this transaction is authenticated and this user is actually the user that makes this transaction. But those type of challenges create a lot of technical reasons why a transaction can become a decline. And we know how to find those reasons and seamlessly behind the scene, take it to another payment provider and make it approved there and get it approved.
Okay, so we're talking about payments being declined, and also you mentioned this new level of security. Just as you were saying that, I'm thinking to myself, the conversations that I've been having over the last couple of months have indicated that an awful lot of our purchasing and activity has gone online. Largely an effect of COVID, of course. Yeah. A lot of people are at home. A lot of people can't go out, don't want to go out. And so this need for higher security, would you say that it's due to an increase in payments online because of COVID? How does that work out?
No, actually, this directive is undergoing for a long time, and the market and the banks was given a lot of time to get prepared for this directive. And but obviously it came from the place of multiple frauds, from the place of protecting the merchant and protecting the consumer as well, that his card won't be abused. So yes, definitely, as you make the measures more strict and the transaction flow more strict, multiple declines can come in because of technical issues. In the end, this is technology. This is all technology that is serving these challenges to the clients. And sometimes you're making a transaction and you see a blank screen, and all of those scenarios we protect in our retry, and we save. We are able to save those transactions seamlessly, and we make a lot of value to the merchants.
So hang on a second. Your retry process, am I getting this right? Your retry process is actually hidden from the customer.
Completely. You have no idea that your transaction was declined. You have entered your credit card details, went into the scenario. Maybe you got a decline that you saw, a scenario like we said with a white screen. Anyway, we will render the screen again immediately and give you the approval from the second provider that we went into, even the third or the fourth. And from you as a consumer, you are completely agnostic. You have received your successful transaction, your money was deposited in the account that you wanted to play on, and that's it. You can continue.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Is this the main frustration when for the user when it comes to online transactions?
Definitely.
Is failed. What would you say is the main frustration?
Well, I think that's what caused the cart abandonment. Look, there are many merchants around the world, and they're struggling to fight, struggling to show the differences between themselves and to differentiate themselves between one another. They cannot allow to themselves to have payments as a barrier of getting new players. That should be the most easiest way for them to attract new players. And when new players come to a new place and they get hit by a decline, they might leave that place and go to another. And that's obviously not what the merchant wants and all about.
Because I've mentioned this several times again in the last couple of months, talking to experts like yourself, our patience online as users is so little now, and also I think users, some users like myself are quite suspicious. But if you can imagine, you know, if you cast your mind back to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we would sit there for a long, what felt like an age, waiting for something to pay, to be paid for waiting for something to load. But now we have no time for that. We just, hey, listen, it didn't work, let's move on. And our impression of that service provider is very damaged by a negative experience.
Exactly.
And of course, that is exactly what you're saying. So listen, we've worked out what the frustrations are. What does the online future look like for you? What do you see BridgerPay taking its customers forward?
I think the challenge in the payment industry is the very long process of onboarding. Merchants today want everything here and now, or yesterday. Basically, here and now is already late. Everything should be yesterday, and we are talking about complex integrations and complex connections and testing, and this is all phases that you need to go through to onboard a merchant today, to create applications in payment providers, to retrieve all the information, to approve him. Many payment providers don't approve different merchants because of different terms. So I think the challenge that Bridger is working on is to minimize these time frames, to minimize the gaps between the time a merchant can start using us as Bridger, connecting to his payment provider and to his technology. And we believe that by the end of first quarter, we are going to show a way to onboard a gateway on a no-touch flow, which means without any Bridger people, you would go into Bridger website, connect us as a gate into your technology in a few clicks or a line of code, connect the payment providers you want to work in, and start processing. And that's going to be completely no touch flow, and that would be the first gateway that is providing that. We're very excited.
Ran, I'm also extremely excited by that. I love talking to you today and finding out more about what you do. You've mentioned that this should be online by the end of the first quarter. Can we come back to you and talk to you again when this is online?
Obviously, I will be happy to. We'll be happy to,
and
we'll take you through it and show you how it works.
That would be wonderful. Listen, Ran, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for explaining what to most of us is a complicated but also kind of an unthought of process. And I really appreciate that, and obviously what you do as well. Thank you so much. Looking forward to speaking to you again when you have this new technology in place. But for today, thank you very much, and thank you from SiGMA TV.